Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. I'm Eric Sfiligoj, editor of Crop Life Magazine, and happy to say, after a few weeks' absence, to welcome back my co-host here, Paul Schrimpf. Thanks for joining us today, Paul.
Hey, yeah, I had a couple of actual speaking engagements. Not speaking, I was actually doing some panel discussions on big data because everyone seems to want to know about big data and what's going on. So I was with farm credit people a couple of weeks ago, and this week I was at the field to market meeting and got to see a lot of folks there as field to market's really moving along. There were 325 to 350 people from all walks of agriculture. All the basic manufacturers, fertilizer companies, retailers were there, and all stakeholders across the industry that are looking to find out what's going on with sustainability and have a kind of a seat at the table. So it was really good. It was a good talk. I got to see Matt Waits again, and Mary Kay Thatcher from the Farm Bureau, and Eric Jackson from he was over there from Conservice, and we had a nice talk, and lots of people had conversations afterwards. So it was good.
Well, very good. Very good, Paul. Well, thanks for joining us again. And this special edition of Crop Life Retail Week, which most of you will be seeing on Friday, Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, when everyone will either be shopping or in a coma from the turkey and pumpkin pie they had the night before, we thought it would be appropriate for us to review what we think are our top stories for the 2015 market for agriculture. And I know I'll start, Paul. One of my big stories for the year is probably the continuing attacks on the safety of glyphosate. Of course, this important herbicide to the ag retail market has had a host of studies come out basically saying that it is carcinogenic or probably carcinogenic, maybe carcinogenic. Possibly there's some studies linking it to honeybee population declines. I even read one report recently on global warming where one of the commenters mentioned that with all the glyphosate we're spraying on the weeds and killing all these plants, that we're killing potential carbon absorbers, so that we're contributing to global warming. As you can see, the ridiculousness is getting pretty pronounced. But I was a little encouraged because I read last week that the European Food Safety Authority came out with a report that basically said that it doesn't think, based on its studies, that glyphosate does cause cancer in animals. So maybe there'll start to be some pushback on this important topic, and hopefully the defenders of glyphosate will start coming out after the holidays and having their voices heard as well. So that's one of my big news stories for 2015. How about you, Paul? What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of the consolidations that didn't happen were the big stories for me. There was a real sense that we were going to get something to happen with Monsanto and Syngenta, and again, when it didn't happen, it still got retailers thinking about a future with fewer basics, a future with fewer partners. I heard from a number of folks that they almost feel like they have to think about expanding the kind of partners that they're working with, something we talked about here. And now we have speculation about all sorts of different partners possibly getting together, and it's difficult to lead into a season with so much discussion. It's one thing when these things happen, you get into a summertime or you get a feel for what's going to be happening moving forward, but now we're in the middle of planning for retailers, in the middle of planning for growers, and if something happens, not that it would affect the market immediately, it would roll out, but it would leave a lot of question marks for people as to who the representatives are going to be, who's going to kind of take the lead if there's a merger. It puts a lot of uncertainty in a market that's already got a lot of uncertainty going on in it. So it's certainly going to be something we'll continue to watch, but I think that's yet another issue as we go into next year. That's going to be something we're watching. So at the top, you got the Crop Life 100 kind of finished up and in the can for the issue. So you had a couple of other thoughts, I think, on that too, right?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Yeah, one of the big things that I think for the year, as I know going into 2015, because there was such anemic growth for ag retailers in 2014, everyone was very fearful that this year would be even worse, that we might see zero growth or maybe a decline in the marketplace value. But after having crunched the numbers and put the stories together that'll be in the December edition of Crop Life magazine on the Crop Life 100, the market was actually pretty good. It grew about 1.5% total, over $30 billion for the top retailers in the country. And although fertilizer and seed sales were down, crop protection products and custom application did show strong growth. So overall, it was the message was it was a pretty good year. And I know a lot of people out in the marketplace are hoping that this is perhaps the beginning of the turn that we'll start seeing, and that maybe 16 and 17 will be better years still.
Interesting. I just wanted to, I guess, throw one other thing out there. On the technology side, I think it was particularly interesting was with the Deere acquiring Precision Planting Technology, and then Trimble recently acquiring AgriTrend. Shows a little bit of an opening up of some of probably our more proprietary focused players in terms of being willing to work with additional partners, choosing up who they think is going to be leaders, and then creating hopefully new and more open programs for growers and retailers to participate in. So I think that's hopefully a positive sign. It's something that the industry desperately needs, is having folks work together toward common solutions, and hopefully that's a sign of more to come in 2016. Do you want to wrap it up? You wrap it up.
All right. Well, thanks, everyone. Hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and a good Black Friday, and we'll look forward to seeing you next week, probably from a little report from the ARA show, and Paul Schrimpf will probably be here in the studio by himself that week. But have a great holiday season, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy.